Hi, I'm Andrew Spieler,
And I'm Mary Hope Rennie.
and you're watching or listening to Behind the Sign, Real Stories from Real Estate. Welcome, everybody, to episode 40, the big 4-0 here at Behind the Sign. And today we're going to do a little recap.
Yeah, we've gotten old. 40's not young anymore.
40 is pretty substantial. 12 more, and it's a year at 52 weeks. So
crazy.
every week for 40 weeks. That's no small feat. And that means we've interviewed definitely probably over 30 agents at this point, because
least.
there haven't been that many that were just you and I.
Yeah,
out of
maybe
the
a handful. So a few partners and really diving into so many agents' stories, which
Yeah.
I have loved.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
kind of
it's-
becoming my highlight of my week.
Oh yeah, I mean it's interesting to kind of look back, and what we're going to do at some point is probably get the transcripts from each episode. We'll put them in AI. We'll see what threads AI pulls out of it. But
Because we can't do a podcast if we don't have AI help
exactly
us.
right. But I think at least for today's episode, to sort of focus on, okay, we're 40 episodes in. We've heard a lot of different stories. We heard from a lot of agents who have been doing this for a long time, a lot of agents who have not been doing this for that long, 5 years maybe. And we find ourselves in the middle of a shift in the market.
Right.
So I think it was about a month ago we did an episode on the shifting market.
Yeah.
I think we're now a month later. More people seem to be feeling it. More questions seem to be coming up. I wouldn't say that there's panic,
No.
but I think there's definitely a lot of agents that seem to be sort of raising a lot more questions about things that they've never had to deal with before.
Right.
And so I think maybe touching on some of the go-to strategies that work in a shifting market, how to sort of re-gear your mindset to keep the deal alive and make things move through, and also probably convey to your clients that we are in a market that's now different, right? Because I believe it's like the emotional mindset of the sellers and the buyers is lagging right behind the shift. So what are some of those things that you think right off the bat are important topics to kind of jump into?
Yeah, I think actually as we were talking about this and I was thinking about it, time teaches us more than anything, right? And that's what's kind of neat about us doing 40 episodes.
Yeah.
We kind of have a story to tell. We've seen a lot of common threads on success. And that doesn't mean, well, it was a really good market, therefore I was successful.
Right.
So we've kind of been talking through it, like what does make someone successful in real estate? So that's something that I think we can bring in, because I think so many times in our businesses, it's our business,
Right.
right? And that's personal, yet there's all these factors outside of us. But when we're having the ups and downs, we're always trying to find the reason, right? And it's usually not us.
Yeah. Right.
Or actually, it usually is us, yet that's not the person, the thing that we go to right away, right? We're trying to figure out and fix that. It's one of those things, and it doesn't matter what market it is. New agents are trying to find that one golden nugget that's going to make them successful. And I think that's why we've asked on almost every single episode, what is the one piece of advice that you give a new agent or someone considering getting into real estate? Because I think, as we've been able to see, there's not one set way to be successful in real estate. And that's what makes it so hard.
Right. Yeah.
There isn't, and yet there's some of these themes. So I think looking back and having a conversation about where we feel success lies could give us the reasons how, or the ways and the nuggets on how can we address this market. Because I think it's one and the same, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, so we were talking a little bit about timeline, right? And I feel like I've had a lot of agents come to me saying, hey, this listing that you shot for me a couple weeks ago, it's been up, but there's been no traction. What can we do, right? Can we add virtual staging? Can we...
As a photographer,
Correct,
a videographer.
Right, exactly.
Right? So you're seeing that side of it.
Right. They're trying to think, okay, how do I strategize on the marketing side of things to potentially get more attention and exposure to the listing? But, what you were saying is that all homes sell. It's a matter of how long it takes for it to sell.
Yeah,
right?
I think there's a couple things with that is, first of all, reactions from agents is natural because we're coming from such a fast market. And so when now things don't sell in the first month, and the expectation has been that there's going to be multiple. Sorry, not the first month, first weekend.
Right.
First month, that's forget it.
Yeah.
If we don't have multiple offers in the first weekend, we've been conditioned. We might not even be saying it, but our habits and our experiences in the last 4 to 5 years has said, if you have not received multiple offers in the first weekend, and it doesn't matter the price, it doesn't matter the condition, it doesn't matter the location, it doesn't matter if you have no photos up, which not technically you can't do,
Right.
but you could have one photo up or one stake in the ground, and you would have multiple offers on a property.
Right.
And the buyers would determine what that house was worth.
Yeah.
So we're kind of coming from a really high extreme, and now we're going to what I'm arguing is normalcy.
Right. Balancing out.
And that's where I think, first of all, the reaction is, oh, shoot, what am I doing wrong because this doesn't have multiple offers in 1 week?
Right.
However, there's a few other elements to that. So there's the mindset of the agent and the expectations of the clients.
Sure.
And I think to be honest, from what I'm seeing is agents are realizing the expectations have to be a little different. I think when we first talked, actually, it could have been a couple months ago, I think, because we talked about AI about a month ago, and I think that might have been before that. But I could. You might be right. Not everybody was on the bandwagon that the market had changed.
Right.
We were just feeling it. We were like, I think we were like 10 days into.
We were like, whoa, wait.
All of a sudden, everything stopped.
Uh-huh.
Now it's been a little bit of time and a little bit of normalcy to even seeing things on the market for 10 to 14 days.
Right.
Before, buyers' agents would call up the listing agent and say, what's wrong with the property since it didn't sell?
Right.
It's not as uncommon. But I think once that has kind of smoothed out, which I really think there is a better expectation on our agents, they're now having to express that to the client base.
Right.
The general public. And we've talked about this, that, oh my goodness, if they're not hearing it from their agent, the real facts, they're taking it from national news, which is completely different.
Right.
I think that's what we proved last time, that New Hampshire's numbers are not the national numbers.
Yeah. Right.
It's not that the market is crashing. It's softening a bit. So that's now causing the agents to build systems and skill sets around those conversations.
Right.
So that's one thing that I think is starting to develop.
And those conversations, when you talk about those, that's a big part of that, right? Is the agent talking to the client to set the expectation of what the new norm is for timelines, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's been my experience recently that a lot of sellers are still thinking like, oh, it's going to just go real quick, right? Because they just historically, like, that's what they're looking at and just being like, oh, my neighbor's house went in 2 days, right?
Well, and you know what I've been seeing too, because I've really been helping a lot of agents looking at their market analysis before they run it or when it hasn't sold, going back to it.
Yeah.
The numbers from 6 months ago, so we usually pull the data from the last 6 to 12 months to kind of find out where this house will fit into the market.
Yeah.
The prices 6 months ago they have gone down for a lot of homes.
Right.
Their sold price. So if it's sold for, let's say, 600, maybe it was listed at 550, 500. That sold price, we used to say, okay, well, let's list this at 600. Right, it's across the street.
Right.
It looks pretty much the same. At the 600, it might not move. Now, if we started listing it at the 550 where it would have probably moved. Do you see how? So even the data and having those conversations with our sellers, the data is kind of telling us a number, and yet that number is not automatically bringing the sale as fast.
Right.
Does that make sense?
I think so. I think it seems like, having the conversation with the home seller saying, look, things are slowing down and we're going to have an open house. And depending upon the traffic of the open house, it's going to tell us, where we're at, right? We're going to get feedback if we don't get offers. So you sort of set the stage for that. And then by the second weekend, if still no offers are in, if you've already sort of told them that it might take a week or two before an offer even shows up, then it's a little less.
Or 3 or 4 weeks.
Right. Then it's a little less like, oh my God, panic.
Right.
What are we doing? Right. Do we need to drop the price immediately? Do we need to redo this?
Absolutely. And also, if agents are kind of going, do I say that Blank Estimate,
Mm-hmm.
the website, if they're going by that and leaning on that and kind of listening to their seller
Mm-hmm.
and not using facts,
Mm-hmm.
um, they're going to be shocked when they go back and they're like, oh, all these homes have taken 35 days to
Right.
sell. Anyway, so I think knowing your data
Mm-hmm.
is going to be paramount because I do remember, and I think I talked about this last time, when the top of that market, I'd say 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
End of 20,
Yeah.
I would be so confident that this house was not worth more than 500. No data, no property in that neighborhood had ever sold more than 500, and I was going to die on that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put that on, and they would go with another person because when I was listening, I was pretty strong with this is where I believe, and I don't want to be listening too high. It's not going to help you.
Right.
They'd list at 550 and it'd still have multiple offers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I remember thinking, gosh, I feel so inadequate. That was because the
But that
skill
was a
set
total
was
shift. That was a shift that had
it
occurred
was a
right there.
shift,
Right there.
and
Mm-hmm.
buyers were so desperate for houses. So that's not.
Right.
It was a very odd time. So I think right now agents need to know the conversations to have prior to listing
Mm-hmm.
and the skill set around that. And to be honest, how do you get skill set? It's through practice,
Yeah.
either in front of people or practice,
Mm-hmm.
which I think we're coming back around and realizing how much, not realizing, again, realizing the paramount significance of script practicing,
Yeah.
conversation practicing.
Right.
We don't like to say script practicing because that seems like a job.
Yeah.
But how to have conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, knowing the data and really being able to interpret the data.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really, our agents are needing to be professionals at understanding and reading numbers.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I also think, and we were talking about this, like, oh, shoot, I'm doing everything right, and why isn't it selling? Everything right is also in perspective to what the market was before.
Mm-hmm.
Is your listing up to par?
Mm-hmm.
Is your listing description up to par?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing the right marketing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the skill set to be able to negotiate the terms of a contract? Before, there were not really any contingencies.
Mm-hmm.
Once you got an offer, how do you present them in a way and guide your clientele? There are so many skills that we actually those muscles didn't have to be used very much.
Right.
And so I think we're getting to a point of, okay, we have to remind, either if we've been in the market for more than 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
brush those off. Even experienced agents,
Yeah.
I know myself, like, oh, shoot, I haven't had this kind of conversation before. Or, gosh, I remember 10 years ago when we were dealing with this, like really going
Mm-hmm.
back.
Yeah.
And also understanding there are certain things in a deal, understanding there are certain things in a contract that are going to arise,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not the end of the world.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We have stumbling blocks. Almost every transaction probably has some sort of stumbling block.
Mm-hmm.
You just had a closing.
Yeah.
And it's even in the closing dates
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
the dynamics of people and deadlines and things like that. When it was such a fast-paced market, not as many stumbling blocks happened
Right.
because you couldn't get out of contracts.
Mm-hmm.
Buyers kind of had to give their firstborn to get a house.
Right. Yeah. The commitment was much more intense
Yes.
and escalated in time.
I also think that buyers were willing to sacrifice a bit more to get in that house
Mm-hmm.
because the interest rates were lower.
Yep.
So the cost of buying a home.
Right. Which at that time too, nobody really knew, like, is the bottom on that going to drop out? Right. So people were up against this invisible timeline of like, oh, we got to do it now because the rates could jump right back up because it's COVID time and nobody knows what's going to happen next. Right.
Which actually reminded me, we had a class, I think it was just last week, about bulletproofing our transactions, which these are the things that we're needing to put into our market center, our education and training to provide to our agents because we are in a time that our skill set needs to be top notch. So our principal broker, Alan, had an amazing class last week. And something that came up is clients are always going to have a fear of something.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So in the previous market, it was a fear of missing out.
Mm-hmm. FOMO.
It really was. It was a fear that if I don't get this one,
Right.
the next one's going to be 50,000 more,
Yeah.
or the interest rates are going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were clamoring to get that
Right.
and willing to overlook a lot of things that they wouldn't have normally.
Right.
Like, oh, the house is not cleaned up. Don't worry. We want to close.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
It's
Like,
fine. We'll take the dirt with the house. Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a fear that I'm buying it for too high
Mm-hmm. Right.
and fear that I'm making a mistake
Right.
because the cost is more expensive
Mm-hmm.
and things are slowing down. So they feel it's almost a fear of missing out the opposite way. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
should I not be doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that fear, it dictates two different things. So the fear of missing out, you're willing to actually risk more,
Right.
which is an interesting part of fear,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right? Usually you think fear is like running away from something.
Right.
But in that market, we were like clamoring,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was irrational.
Yep.
Irrational. You could lay out all the numbers and saying this was what the house is worth. And a buyer said, that's okay. I'll write a check for 50,000 more.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, and that it was also at that time a unique personal drive to be in a space that you could live and work in, because there was going to you were now going to be in the home potentially much more so than at any other time in recent history. Right. So the fear of also not having a place where you can be comfortable almost outweighed the fear
crazy,
of having a house that's got like a bad boiler or whatever. They're like, we'll figure that out. We just don't want to go stir crazy in a tiny house.
Yeah.
You know, like the mentality was completely different.
And the reality was, and looking back, holy cow, it made total sense that people paid 50,000 over because they've made more money on it than we would have ever imagined already.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that was money was cheap.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That was a reality. Historically, we hadn't seen rates like that before.
Yep.
Below 3% to borrow money on a 30-year loan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we won't see that again.
Yeah. Right.
I hate to tell you all.
Unless it's another.
Yeah, no. I'm going to bet my money we won't be down to 3%.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel that it was a combination of things. Whereas now this fear is making buyers just slow down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And things that would not have a year ago even caused them to blink an eye, the same.
Yeah.
So that's what's fascinating.
Well, and now that we're also talking about fear on the side of the sellers as well, right? Because they're going, oh, things are slowing down.
Yeah.
I may not get as much. It may take longer and be a more painful process to list my property. So maybe now I should wait to put it on because it seems like I kind of missed the party already, right?
Yeah, I'm actually seeing, I think a little bit of that has gone away. They know that we've kind of hit the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing sellers saying, let's get in.
Mm-hmm. Because I was just talking to an older couple, and they have a house. They know they need to downsize because it's more house than they need, right? But the point they're making is like, well, we know that the amount we're probably going to get for the house is not enough for us to move someplace comfortably that's smaller.
Yeah.
So we're just going to hold on to it, right? So there's that fear again of sort of like, okay, well,
what's on the other side?
right.
Well, and I would have 5 different arguments for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, but it's learning how, not arguments like, and when I say script practice or conversation practice, I don't mean sales practice of how to con someone into doing something they don't want.
Right.
It is a consultation.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times fear stops us from doing things we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Fear on the other end made us do things that we probably would not have done.
Mm-hmm.
Fear now, they should be doing things, yet the what ifs, they might be slowing down and they're not going with their gut, or they're not going with a home they love because they're overthinking it and worrying too much. And so it's okay. But I love the fact, and this was brought up in this bulletproofing your transactions, that there's always going to be something, a fear of something, which I thought it was just something that kind of clicked, that sometimes we're like, oh, shoot, now we're in the shifting market.
Yeah.
Shoot, now I can't do anything. And I am seeing agents pull back, thinking they can't do what they did before now that the market is shifting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna snap my fingers again because I have an important piece of notes from the class that I think is actually good for this. So here it comes. Okay. So now I have the notes here.
Amazing.
I know. So magical. So these were from the slides that Alan was talking about. And one of the big ones was, he called this slide, "Hey, heads up, ability to see what's coming and being prepared to act." And he broke it down into quadrants. And so quadrant 1, top left, is nothing will go wrong, right? So this is speaking to the fears of the process of just buying and selling. Quadrant 2 was anything could go wrong.
Okay.
Quadrant 3 was something will go wrong. And quadrant 4 is everything will go wrong. So depending upon how you preface with your clients on these 4 possibilities is going to sort of determine what the outcome is going to be and how you can kind of manage and control their fears over the reality of this process. And obviously nothing will go wrong if you say, oh, it's going to be a breeze, right? You're just setting yourself up for failure and wrong expectation. Anything could go wrong. Sounds like you have no control and you just don't know what's going to happen at any point. Everything will go wrong. Obviously, that's terrible. So it's something will go wrong, right? At some point, something will go wrong, and that's normal. It's expected.
Well, if nothing could go wrong, they wouldn't need us as agents.
Right. Exactly. And that's just it, is it's sort of like, to guide you through the process that is overridden by fear and emotion, to sort of say, look, there's going to be some variable that's going to come up at some point in this process, right? We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We don't know how big or how small, but we will overcome it by figuring out a solution-based approach to the problem.
Yep.
And that I think is so important, especially now that the balancing of the market is occurring, because like you said, back then it was, we'll overlook everything just so that we can get things closed. And so therefore there probably were a lot fewer issues that could come up.
Absolutely. And what, as you're saying that, it kind of makes me recall a lot of our interviews with our agents. There's so many preconceived notions about getting into real estate. It's either going to be you do nothing and make tons of money. I love that one.
Yeah.
Or I just have to grind, and I'm never going to be good at this. Right? Just different things. And yet, you have to have a healthy perspective of the hard and the potential.
Well, that's what Tony said last week, right? He said there's a lot of doers, right, who kind of burn themselves out and they don't make traction. And then there's the dreamers who dream,
Yes.
right? And they never do.
Yeah.
And you've got to be a doer and a dreamer in the middle in order to actually make progress.
Well, and now that we're talking about it, one of the greatest skills, I think, as a realtor in any market, shifting or not shifting, is to be able to understand people.
Yeah.
Because not only do you have to be in the right mindset and understand all those quadrants and all of that, but you have to also bring your clients along on that journey and understand where they're at, right?
Right.
Are they a doer? Are they a dreamer? Because if they're a doer, we're going to have different conversations.
Right.
And they could be like, never leaving here. I'm not going to be ever able to get out of this house because I have so much stuff. And you literally have to break down, okay, you know what? Here's the start, here's the end, and here are the steps. And they can't see that.
Right. You have the playbook.
And then there's the dreamers who, we're going to do this and have no practical idea that, you know what, realistically, we're going to need this amount of time and this is what we're going to need to do. But being able to learn people, and that's why I said those script practice or conversations practice is not to how to convince someone to do something they don't want to do. It's the exact opposite.
Right.
Find out what that motivation is that a buyer has, motivation that a seller, because we're never convincing people to buy or sell. That's why I've always told people, I'm good at real estate because I don't have to sell anything except myself.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because you're never going to be able to knock on someone's door and say, I know you don't want to sell, but I'm going to convince you to sell
Right. Yeah.
or buy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to be able to just say, hey, I have this great deal. Come and buy with me.
Right.
Or come and sell with me.
Mm-hmm.
We're not selling a product like that.
Right.
We are helping a need,
Mm-hmm.
and we are selling what we can help them with.
Yeah.
Right? So we are selling.
We're service providers.
Correct.
Right.
We're
Mm-hmm.
selling ourselves, and what we communicate to them, our value proposition is.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying, well, and maybe some people say this. I don't think this is our sales proposition is, I can give you the prettiest website.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because that's not going to sell your home.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Could it help something? Because
Mm-hmm.
we know that there are some homes we look at and say, how do they sell that?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen those photos
Mm-hmm.
that, not even iPhones, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just,
Yeah.
the pictures sideways. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah.
That they're not even angled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like literally,
Yep.
it's a horizontal picture flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you say, how did they sell that? That's not what we're selling.
Right.
We're selling our services of what
Mm-hmm.
we can provide as a whole. And part of that is finding out what is motivating them to move.
Mm-hmm.
What is motivating them to sell? What that is. Because if we can't find that, can we list a house? Yes. Can we show houses? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be wildly successful at it? No, because it's going to be a transaction. It's not going to be helping people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from all of our examples of the successful agents, it was a people business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you don't like people,
Yeah.
I mean, you might not like talking to people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but even our introverts
Mm-hmm.
really care about people. They probably, I'd almost argue, they sometimes care a bit more than us bubbly people.
Maybe. I mean, I think he's at the end of the day, what you're getting at is as an agent, you're helping to service a logistical situation to fulfill usually it's a need, less so than a desire, right? For a client, for a person.
Right.
They have to sell their house because of X, Y, and Z, or they want to sell their house because of X, Y, and Z,
Right.
because they need X, Y, Z.
Correct.
Right. There's still some.
There is a need of some sort.
Right. Because as I forget who it was, they said, it's death, divorce, and moving, right?
Mm-hmm.
The top three, like, biggest stressful, most emotional things.
Yep.
So it's not like people want to just sort of willy-nilly up and move all the time.
No.
I'm sure there's some people out there who do.
My
but
mom.
Right. But usually the majority of folks,
Right. It's a stressful situation.
it's like if they're doing it, they're committing to it because it's a big deal for them,
Yeah.
right? And they want the right guidance and advice to go about the process to make it as less scary and as less painful as possible. You know? So, and that's where the value comes in, is to say, okay, well, we're going to try to avoid and make sure it's not the anything could go wrong situation,
Right.
That most people probably enter into
Right.
the process in the mindset of.
And I think us agents, if we do have these mindsets, we really need to analyze ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why we focus on mindset so much, because if we have these mindsets of everything's going wrong or nothing's going to go wrong, even in our lives,
Yeah. Right.
we are going to portray that into our business.
Mm-hmm.
And our business is us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, oh my goodness, so many times we try to separate the two.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think the agents we've brought on, the resiliency through everything, if you are growing all the time
Mm-hmm.
and you keep going,
Yeah.
and you have support and training of other people around you that care about you,
Yeah.
you're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In real estate, it's not like I did everything, I poured into everything, and I just never could get it. Never could get it.
Mhm.
We had a lot of agents that almost didn't get it. There was more than one that said, I was at year 2 and I almost quit. Right?
Right.
I mean, didn't we have a couple of them that
Mhm.
literally said, if I don't get this next deal,
Right. Like I'm out.
I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
But what kept them going and what changed them and what took them from being one of the statistics.
Mm-hmm. Right.
There's high statistics. It's
Yep.
not, it's a pretty high failure rate.
Mhm.
I love
Yep.
love it and hate it. To being one of the top agents in our market center, in the market, in the whole company, is that they stuck it out.
Yeah.
And they obviously had to change their mindset in some way to get them there.
Right.
You know?
Yep. Well, the only thing you mentioned ahead of this that I thought would be relevant to throw on here before we close out is the 10-10 rule.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is just a good sort of mindset to be in for anybody who's on market right now.
And I have no clue who taught me this. I've been in real estate 16 years now, more than 16 years. And I was always taught, and I have no clue. It probably was my mentor, Darlene Lynch. I'm gonna put her name in there, and then I hope she hears it. But the general rule of thumb was 10 days without a showing. Or 10 showings without an offer, the home is priced wrong. Again, 10 days without a showing, that seems like 40 years or 40 episodes.
Yeah.
So 10 days without a showing or 10 showings without an offer, the house is probably priced wrong. Unless there are some blatant things, right? Like if there's 2 feet of water in the basement.
Sure. Yeah. Some real
problem. Because you can't change the location. You really can't change the bones of a house unless you're doing a flip. The only thing you can change is the price. The 10 days on market, even in the crazy market, I used to kind of listen to this rule of thumb. The 10 days on market was not, it was more like 5 days on market without a showing, or 24 hours without a showing. I remember when I jumped into real estate. So that was, the market had crashed. There were more short sales and foreclosures than regular listings, probably. Okay. Average days on market, I have no clue because I didn't pay attention to the numbers then. It was long because I remember my first listing closed in 14 days, and that wasn't heard of.
Right.
That was not heard of. But with that being said, even in the market, crazy fast market, 10 showings without an offer held true through the whole entire time I've been in real estate. And interestingly enough, I listened to a podcast with Wendy Papasan. I can't remember the name of it now. Oh my goodness, it's the woman's podcast. Something entrepreneur. Anyway, they were talking about a shifting market and having to adjust prices, and they use that same. And the days on market might have been a little different, but I've always used it. Try it. If you have a house on the market and you're not, because the reason sometimes you have tons of showings in 2 days.
Right.
If you've had 10 showings and not one has placed an offer, the reason that means is you've gotten 10 different eyes on this that are ready, willing, and able buyers, and not one is willing to even place an offer on it. It's probably not the color of the bedroom.
Right.
I think a lot of people are like, should we paint the house?
Right. Right.
Could that attract more buyers? And yeah, that painting of that wall is not the problem.
Right.
Because out of 10, one of them will love that color. Do you see that?
Does that apply to say you have delayed showings until the open house, right? You have an open house and you have 10 bodies come through the door.
Yeah. I would be a little more careful because those could be looky-loos.
Sure.
Right? It's the neighbor next door. It's the cousin of the seller.
Yeah.
But showings, like they're ready, willing buyers. They have an agent. Because if they don't have an agent, they're probably not serious buyers.
Right.
I really think 10 and 10 days without a showing. Like I said, but I do feel like that. If you don't have any showings in 10 days, even let's say you got a bunch in the first week.
Yeah.
Let's say you had 5 showings over the first weekend, which that seems like hardly anything right now to most people. However, if you had like 5 and then all of a sudden nobody else, that was your pool.
Right.
That tells you something. So that 10-day window, if you aren't having more showings, but if you're having showing that, okay, there might be a smaller pool and they're just consistently finally finding it.
Yeah.
But once you've had 10, I don't know. Somebody prove me wrong.
Yeah.
No, I would love people's thoughts on it because I really, the only time I ever found a mistake on that for my business was during 2021 when, within 24 hours you had to have multiple offers or there was something wrong with the house.
Right. Yeah. Different timeline, different set of
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah. So I was just talking the other day. We had some big open houses that had like 14 people at them, which is big right now. At the crux of the market, I had a listing. I don't remember the price, but it was a Cape in Bow. I had 100 people come through one day of open houses.
Wow.
That was just crazy.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think we had 30 offers, like something crazy. It was
Circus.
stupid silly. And yet, here's the thing. Those people have made money on the house. They could probably sell it for $100,000, $150,000 more than what they bought it for.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I do think there are tactics that our agents are going to have to learn. And that's not a bad thing.
Right.
We
It's an opportunity.
sell people's largest assets usually. It's one of their largest assets. Predominantly in every deal, this is their largest asset.
Yep.
I would say 80% of the time, we're dealing with people's largest financial asset. That is such a responsibility we have. And we did 40 hours of classes and took one test.
Right. Yeah. A license to cause trouble, somebody say in one of the episodes.
No, but I do see that unless you're continuously growing, unless you're learning, we're doing masterminds for a shifting market. We're doing the book. There's a book called The Shift. And we're literally diving into the tactics, and we're taking 2 of the tactics each week and masterminding. So someone's not teaching because what we're doing is this is the market of the day.
Yeah.
Now, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? Now let's put best practices together. And I think that's one of the best ways to grow. However, if agents are not being poured into, or if they are not going to that, they're going to have a hard time in this market. Because even if you've known some tactics from before, it's a different market.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we'll see where we are another month from now.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So,
well, 40 in.
40 in.
12 to go for the year.
Yep. I was going to say 40 more.
Yeah.
No, I really do. I want to thank all of the agents who have participated. It's been, like I said, I'm not kidding. I love this time. My job, my role as team leader here is to help our agents grow.
Yep.
And to be able to get to know, like, this is like a PhD in agent growth that I'm getting here. Now, I really see this as a privilege to be able to dive into people's business and find out what makes them successful.
Yep.
It only allows me to help other people. And so I really do appreciate it. I also so encourage people to go back and watch them.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many nuggets of wisdom in there that if you just listen to those, we talked about that mindset.
Yeah.
If you thought it all goes wrong and you listen to these podcasts, you would hear a different story.
Right.
If you're an agent that can't get the ball rolling and hearing the stories, this could be such motivation. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, you're gonna come in with eyes wide open, which I always I don't want to sell anything to anybody that but I also see the beauty of our agents' hearts with seeing this. And I see what makes them such successful agents. And I say successful, that doesn't mean financially. They've gotten themselves to this place because of the work they've put into themselves and to others.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm proud of. And gosh, I don't know. I'm this podcast has turned into something that I think is pretty special that I don't think people can find other places.
Nope. Yeah.
However, Gary Keller found us last week.
That's right. Yep.
Just so you guys know.
Yep.
I'm just saying,
Go
if
back,
Gary
look
Keller's
at Tony
looking
Wallace
at
episode, and the one comment or the first comment on the page, in case there are subsequent ones, was from
Gary Keller himself. So if you have not listened to episode 39, listen to that one before us, because
that's right.
No, but I really do. I really think we learn through other people, and this is absolutely evidence. So thanks to you for starting this and providing this, because I think it's a wealth of knowledge and a gift to our market center.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, I enjoyed doing it because same thing. Like I just found when I was just in the very tangential waters of like, maybe I should look into real estate. Maybe I should learn more about, right? Like I went online to try and find stuff, and there are different, especially now, places that you can go for it.
Yep.
But I still don't think most of the resources that exist online exist at a level that's like really in line with the real majority of agents coming into this. Most of the podcasts and YouTubers, they're strategists in how to get better once you're in the industry, or they work in markets that are
Crazy,
much higher
wild.
level, whatever, versus just sort of anybody who's like at a local level, just kind of like, all right, what's
What
this all
can we
about,
do?
and hearing what's possible. Even
I
at
love how we
this-
start
I
doing
know
this.
the middle
This is
seat
our-
here. Yeah, exactly. It's
Our invisible guest.
Yes.
We're not sure what to
Yeah.
do without a
Well,
guest.
and it's also, I think, twofold, right? We're giving information to people who are out there who are willing to watch and listen, and we're giving an opportunity for
Absolutely.
agents to come in here to kind of sort of self-reflect, even if it's for a half hour,
Yeah.
on how far they actually have come, right?
Yeah.
Because
So many of us don't do that.
right, most of us don't take the time to sort of be like, wow, look at what I've achieved, and it's only through the eyes of others where you get to sort of acknowledge like, oh yeah, I guess I did do that. And yeah, I guess I have been successful in this, right? So it's a win-win.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So let us know what you think about this, because
Yes.
I really think I would love this to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we also need to know what can help our viewers
Yeah.
and our listeners.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, thank you for watching for this episode. We'll see you on the 50th. We'll do something on the 50th.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to,
Okay. Yeah. We might have to have balloons. Or
I was going to
streamers
say,
or
yeah, maybe it's a champagne situation. But in any case, make sure you give us a thumbs up on Spotify, like, share, and follow us on YouTube. And definitely go check out that comment from Gary Keller from episode 39.
Yeah,
It's pretty
episode
awesome.
39.
And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Behind the Sign, Real Stories from Real Estate.
We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and gained a little insight into the world behind those for sale signs.
Today's episode was brought to you by Keller Williams Realty Metropolitan, proudly serving New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, and Massachusetts. A special thank you to our agents, leadership, and partners at KW Metro for their continued support.
And thanks to you, our amazing listeners and viewers. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Leave us a review or comment. We love hearing your feedback, and it helps more people discover the show.
And if you have a real estate story you'd like to share or a question you want answered on a future episode, reach out to us at metro.kw.com or find us on Instagram, handle at KWMetroNH.
Until next time, we'll see you
Behind the sign.